Assalamu alaikum respected viewers and students. Today is the fifth lecture in the lecture series on the subject of sociology. My name is Sir Mohammad Zeeshan. I am a lecturer in sociology. I am a PhD scholar and PPSC lecturer topper. Now our today's topic of discussion is social research methods. Now before I start today's lecture, one thing I would like to tell my viewers and students is that this is going to be one of the most important lectures which you shall be hearing in this series. So I would request all of you to listen attentively and try to understand the concepts which I shall be discussing in my today's lecture. तो अगर आप देखें आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है social research methods, it is considered as one of the most important lectures in this lecture series. Now first of all we will look at what social research is. A systemized effort to gain new knowledge is called research. Research is basically a systematic effort by a researcher in which he adopts or tries to use different methods in order to gain new knowledge. Likewise, a systematic method of exploring, analyzing, conceptualizing social life in order to extend, correct, or verify knowledge that may aid in the construction of a theory or in practice of an art. And last but not the least, structural observation of social behavior is also known as social research. Now there are some of the major types of research. I have classified them into three major types. First one is application of research study. Second is objectives in undertaking research, and third is inquiry mode employed. Now in our first type, application of research study, you can see that there are two subtypes. That is pure research, which is also known as first-hand research used for developing knowledge for any issue. While its second type is applied research, application of existing research knowledge on any issue. Likewise, if you look at the second type, objectives in undertaking research, it can be further divided into four subcategories. First one is exploratory research, second is descriptive research, third is explanatory research, and fourth is correlational research. Now in exploratory research, we explore any new indicator or try to explore any new phenomena in our research. While in descriptive research, in this research method type, research is conducted to gather data or describe any issue in detail. In explanatory research, research is conducted to understand why something occurred. While in correlational research, it aims to discover the relationship between two or more aspects of a situation. Now the last type, a major type of research is inquiry mode employed. In this method, there are further two subcategories. First is qualitative research, which focuses on opinions, subjectivity, and feelings of participants of study, while quantitative research uses facts and figures, objectivity, and structured way to an inquiry. Now, if you look at this slide, I have mentioned the research process and tried to make it as simple as possible for my viewers and students. Now in our research process, the first step which we shall take is that we define the problem or issue. That is, we choose a suitable topic for our study. Then we review the literature, that is going through existing knowledge on the topic. After that we formulate the hypothesis, that is a statement that shows relationship between variables, which is independent and dependent. After that we choose a research design, which basically is the plan for collection or analysis of our data. Then we collect the data, that is all the relevant information on the topic. After collection of data, we analyze the results, especially we analyze and evaluate the information in order to clarify the relationship between the variables and accept, reject or modify the hypothesis. And finally, we draw the conclusion, give recommendations and communicate the results to relevant stakeholders. Now you can see I have tried to explain the scientific method that is used in social research with the help of this diagram. First of all, research topic area, after that hypothesis, then we test the hypothesis, then we analyze the data, then we report the conclusion, and after that, if you can see, again we try to observe any social phenomena and ask questions, and again this whole process repeats again and again. Now there are some research tools which are very important and which most of the social researchers or social scientists they adopt during the conducting of their research study. Some of these are experiments, surveys, questionnaires, interviews, case studies, participant and non-participant observation, and observational trials. Now I have elaborated all of these tools in detail. Interview is basically the face-to-face conversation between two individuals with the sole purpose of collecting relevant information to satisfy a research purpose. Now interviews are basically of three major types. Some of the interviews are structured, some are semi-structured, and some are unstructured, with each having slight variation from the other. Now the second research tool is questionnaire, the process of collecting the data through an instrument consisting of a series of questions and prompts to receive a response from the individuals it is administered to. Questionnaires are basically designed to collect data from a large number of people or group. Now, the third research tool is survey, a data collection tool that is used for gathering information from a sample population with the intention of generalizing the results to a larger population. Surveys have a variety of purposes and can be carried out in many ways depending on objectives to be achieved. After that, there is another research tool which is reporting. That is, data reporting is the process of gathering and submitting the data to be further subjected to analysis. The key aspect of data reporting is reporting accurate data, because inaccurate data reporting leads to uninformed decision making. Now the fifth research tool is observation. This is the data collection method by which information on a phenomena is gathered through observation. The nature of the observation could be accomplished either as a complete observer, an observer as participant, a participant as an observer, or as a complete participant. And this method is a key base for formulating a hypothesis. Sixth research tool is focus group discussions. Now, the opposite of quantitative research, which involves numerical based data, this data collection method focuses more on qualitative research. It falls under the primary category of data based on the feeling and opinion of the respondents. This research involves asking open-ended questions to a group of individuals, usually ranging from 6 to 10 people, to provide feedback. Now, there are some important concepts which the students of social research and social sciences should be aware of. The first concept is, as you can say, the word concept, which is a mental construct that represents some part of the world in a simplified form. Variable is a concept whose values changes from case to case. Measurement, a procedure for determining the value of a variable in a specific case. Operationalize a variable, that is by specifying exactly what is to be measured before assigning a value to a variable. Reliability refers to consistency in measurement, that is, measurements give the same result time after time, whereas validity means actually measuring exactly what you intend to measure. Similarly, cause and effect means a relationship in which change in one variable causes a change in another. The variable that causes the change is called independent variable, also denoted by alphabet X, capital, whereas variable that changes is called the dependent variable, also denoted by the alphabet capital Y. Correlation is a relationship in which two or more variables change together. For example, change in an independent variable causes a change in dependent variable. Spurious correlation, an apparent but false relationship between two or more variables that is caused by some other variable. Control means holding constant all the variables except one in order to see clearly the effect of that variable. Objectivity refers to the personal neutrality in conducting research, while replication means repetition of research by other investigators. An hypothesis is a statement of possible relationship between two or more variables. Now you can see the concept which I have mentioned in my previous slides here is a good example which can be used in order to understand those concepts in detail. As you can see, I have mentioned two variables which are variable density of living conditions, which has a correlationship with the variable delinquency rate. Therefore, as the living conditions become more dense, delinquency rate goes up. Now, another, you can say, concept or variable is added so that its relationship between the two variables can be further understood in a better way. For example, variable density of living conditions and variable delinquency rate. For example, if variable income is controlled, then we can say that comparing only young people of the same income level, those with higher density living conditions do not always have a high delinquency rate. Meaning that when a new variable is added, it can sometimes causes the correlation among the already existing variables to disappear. Now in this diagram, as you can see, again, as income goes down, living conditions become more dense or difficult, and the delinquency rate goes up. Now you can see there is a correlation between density of living conditions and income, between income and delinquency rate, and between delinquency rate and density of living conditions. Likewise, sometimes, which I have mentioned in the previous slide, the concept of spurious correlation, in which you are unsure that which of the variable is the main reason for the change in another variable. Like for instance, if you can see, income is a variable and it can cause density of living conditions to vary, and it can also cause change in delinquency rate. However, it might be possible that in some instances the relationship or correlation between density of living conditions and delinquency rate might be spurious, or that is not easily identifiable because of this third variable, that is income. Now, in sociology, there are three major research orientations which are being followed. First one is positivist sociology, that is the study of society based on systematic observation of social behavior. Second is interpretive sociology, the study of society that focuses on discovering the meanings people attach to their social world. While the third one is critical sociology, the study of society that focuses on the need for social change. Now in this slide you can see all these research orientations are mentioned in detail. For instance, in positive sociology, the reality is that society is in orderly state and there is an objective reality that is outside the individual, out there, present, having a separate identity. While in interpretive sociology, society is an ongoing interaction and people construct reality as they attach meanings to their behavior. That means reality is not outside but inside of their mind. While in critical sociology, society is patterns of inequality and reality is that some categories of people dominate others. And how do we conduct research in each of these orientations? In positivist sociology, we use scientific orientation, scientific method, empiricism, or you can say quantitative research method. While in interpretive sociology, we focus more on the qualitative research method, in which the researcher tries to gather qualitative data and discover the subjective sense of people who make sense of their world. While in critical sociology, the aim of the researcher is to go past beyond the positivism's focus of studying the world as it is and try to, you can say, focus on the fact that a lot of things in the society are being guided by politics, and uses the research as a strategy to bring about desired social change. While corresponding theoretical approach which is used in these orientations, in positive sociology we use structural functional approach, in interpretive sociology we use symbolic interaction approach, and in critical sociology we use social conflict approach. Now there are some further important concepts in social research. A very important concept was given by Max Weber, that is the concept of Verstehen, in which Max Weber believed the key to interpretive sociology lay in Verstehen, that is German word for understanding. The interpretive sociologist does not just observe what people do, but also try to understand as to why they do act in that specific manner. Whereas research method is a systematic plan for doing the research, and four commonly used methods of sociological investigation were experiments, survey, participant observation, and the use of existing data. Now the third is experiment is a research method for investigating the cause and effect under highly controlled conditions. Hawthorne effect refers to a change in a subject's behavior caused simply by the awareness of being studied. Now Hawthorne effect is basically a research study conducted by Robert Hawthorne, in which as a result of his study he came to the realization that when people's behavior is being observed or studied, then people try to naturally modify their behavior, and this modification of behavior as a result of being aware that they are being the test subjects of a study or experiment, the change in the or alteration in the behavior of those subjects is referred to as Hawthorne effect. Likewise, population, the people who are the focus of our research, and sample is part of population that represents the whole. And sample must be truly representative of the population of the study. Now there are some of the major types of sampling methods, some of which are random sampling, in which every member in the population has an equal chance of getting selected. Second is stratified sampling, in which smaller groups or strata within the sample are represented proportionally to the population. For instance, different categories are made and people from each of these categories are selected on the basis of same amount of sample. Systematic sampling is a method in which every specific number of a member from a population, that is from a given interval, specific interval, is selected. For instance, selecting every eighth person randomly from any list of people or your sample. Fourth is non-random sampling, also known as convenient sampling, is used for ease of data collection, and volunteers usually collect data. For instance, asking the people at a given location about how long their commute to work is. Finally, capture recapture, collecting a sample of data from one location at different points in time and marking the individuals to estimate a population size. Now the four research methods are survey, a research method in which subjects respond to a series of statements or questions on a questionnaire or in an interview. Second is a questionnaire, that is a series of written questions a researcher presents to subjects. An interview is a series of questions a researcher asks respondents in person. And participant observation is a research method in which investigators systematically observe people while joining them in their routine activities. Now all of these four research methods are explained in detail in this slide, which you can see what are its applications, what are its advantages, and what are some of its limitations. Now after that, there are two major approaches while conducting a research study in social research. Both of these are inductive and deductive approach. Now in inductive approach, reasoning that transfers specific observations into general theory, whereas in deductive logical thought or approach, reasoning that transforms general theory into specific hypotheses suitable for testing. To further understand this concept, if you can see, in inductive approach, we basically, you can say, start from specific area and try to generalize that concept on major things. Whereas in deductive approach, you can say you can transform a general theory into a specific hypothesis that is suitable for testing. In inductive approach, you can basically say that researchers' thinking runs from specific to general, while in deductive approach it runs from general to specific. Inductive approach is usually used in qualitative research method, while deductive approach is usually used in quantitative research method. Now that will be all for our today's lecture. Do like and subscribe for more such videos. Until then, Allah Hafiz.